Hello guys, welcome to this channel. Today I'm giving you Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers review. I'm gonna try to release Two Towers and Return of the King. So at this moment, I have finished the entire Lord of the Rings franchise. Gotta say, I can say I'm a Lord of the Rings fan now. Not much to say, I guess, but as you know, I'm going to camp in Monday, so we have 3 days left. So there's 4 videos I want to get out, probably 5 actually. Here's the thing. I don't know for sure I'm going to get my Miss Marvel review out. Like, that's probably not going to happen. It's good. So you're going to see one of 2 videos. If I end up seeing Lightyear tomorrow, then that review will come out. If I don't, which I probably won't. I don't know if I'm not going to have time. I think I have a bar mitzvah tomorrow. I don't know. So we'll see what happens, I guess. So let's pray for, you'll get Return of the King. You'll get Two Towers. You'll get my Miss Marvel review if I ever watch it. I still haven't seen it because I don't have interest. And then Lord of the Rings movies ring. So let's get into it. Starting off what this movie's about. This movie has our characters now disbanded. You have Pippin and Merrin. They're captured. Frodo and Sam are on their adventure to go destroy to the ring in Mordor. Gandalf is dead. Whatever. Sean Bean's character's name, I can never remember his name. He's also dead. Oh, Gandalf is supposedly dead. Now he's revealed that he's alive. So they're all off doing their own. They're all off, and then Aragorn, the dwarf, and Legolas are trying to find Merrin and Pippin. So that's kind of where we leave off from. That's where we start the movie pretty much. And then as it goes on, they are trying to get to Rohan, which is like one of the 2 kingdoms of men that are pretty much introduced in this movie, as well as Return of the King. And that they want them to help to destroy the orcs and everything in Mordor and all. So you have all of that. You have that play out. You also have Frodo, Sam. They meet up with Gollum, which is the guy that had the ring before Bilbo Baggins got it, which I mentioned then, which happened in Fellowship. So he has him trying to guide them. There's all this fun stuff that happens throughout then. So it's kind of your classic kind of middle chapter, I would say, in the sequel. You also have the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is awesome, but yeah. So it's essentially kind of our characters following up, trying to get from so you kind of get from point A to point D between all the trilogies. This is trying to get from point B to point A to point D, and this is point B to point C, essentially. I can't talk. The good, and I think starting off the good, I think I like how it kind of continues off of the first one, where you have all the characters sort of split up. I like elements of that. Like I like the idea of it. For one whole movie, it's a little odd to see that, and but I think it makes for interesting dynamics. You get more characters. More characters are introduced. Like you got all the Roanoke people. I feel like that's actually a word. You have those people introduced. You have Sean Bean's brother in the movie introduced. I can't remember his name. I can't remember anyone's name. There's so many characters in these movies, for better or for worse. But yeah, I think overall the characters are pretty great, just as good if not better than they are in the first one. I think Frodo's the main one. I think that's a bit better. I don't think he's as wimpy in this one as he is in the first one. And I think also part of the thing is that I kind of like the dynamic between him, Sam, and Gollum, Gollum's also another character that's really good. It's another character that was introduced. I think Andy Serkis does some very unique stuff with Gollum. You never really seen that kind of stuff before, where you have him put makeup, it was mixed in with CGI. It worked pretty well, I'd say. I freaking love the Battle of Helm's Deep. I mean, who doesn't? It mixed that in with the little part where the Ents are taking over one of the towers. I think that's all great. This is probably my favorite Middle-earth battle that we've gotten. It's a very epic battle. I mean, it was the final battle. It's between that and the battle before the final battle. The battle before the final battle in Return of the King, the one where the Rowan people come in, I guess. I don't know. I think there's a lot of great battles in these movies. This is one of my favorite ones. I like how open this one is. This one's a bit more... I like how more enclosed this one is than the other ones. I kind of like that element to it, because I feel like the other ones, there's such an open space. This one, it's kind of cool. And it is very cool, actually. I freaking love the part where the cavalry comes in with Gandalf and Karl Urban and a bunch of others. Karl Urban's another great actor that actually is thrown into this one. So, I still think it's Karl Urban. I could be wrong. I believe it's Karl Urban. Let me know. So, what's it called? Yeah, I think that whole cavalry sequence is awesome. I love how they set that up a bit early in the movie. I don't mind the ends. I don't love the ends. They're fine. I think this movie shows passive time in a very weird way. It's a bit odd. So I do really enjoy this one. I don't think it's as good as the first one. I think on first watch this was my favorite. When I watched the trilogy last time, this is my favorite one. I don't think I liked it as much because I don't think it forwards the story just enough. I think the problem with this one is it's kind of your classic middle chapter, but I mean it's really good, but like you still have like your classic middle chapter problem. As I said, Gollum's a great character. I love the adventure that they're going. At the same time, it doesn't feel like a very bookended adventure. Like it's very odd the way it ends off. They're with the men for a while, and then battling a dragon and stuff. And then they go off their own. It's a little odd the way everything plays out with them, but at the same time, it's still a fun adventure. I love the whole sequence where Gollum's like sort of talking to himself, and then he's coming back. I just love that's like a fun little bit, and I think the dynamic between the three of them works very well. There's a lot of great things in this movie, but it's not without issues. But I still think it's a movie that I still love. I love the way they progress Frodo's character a bit. He's a bit grown a bit since the first one. I think that worked out pretty well. I love the little character arc that they sent the King of Rohan on, where he's at the beginning after he's been taken over by Christopher Lee or Saruman, and that he kind of goes off because he's having like his kingdom has been in horrible shape because that's been the case, and then he comes out and becomes himself again, and he doesn't want to send for battle because he doesn't want more people to die from his kingdom, and then the way he kind of learns that in the end as the movie goes on, and at the end of the movie. That worked very well. So yeah, there's a lot of great things. Now you have the mixed stuff. And so the thing is that it's kind of your classic middle chapter, and there's a good and bad things to that. The good stuff is that you get a lot of progression, and you kind of feel that it's kind of nice. But at the same time, when you have I think that, like what I've noticed over time is that the middle chapter tends to either be the best or the worst in a trilogy. Like in this case, I say it's the worst because the problem with this one is that you have amazing stuff like the Battle of Helm's Deep, but at the same time, it feels like it's so kind of supposed to be, but it feels very incomplete. And that's kind of what I think the fun part is at the beginning you get all the setup, and the end you get all the payoff, and you're kind of merging them together, and that can work sometimes. And I think it's like some trilogies. I'd say the Hobbit trilogy, the middle one's the best. I haven't seen the third one, but I'm assuming the middle one will be. And then I'd say for original Star Wars trilogy, I say Empire's my favorite one. So yeah. It has their kind of classic middle trilogy problems, and the thing is that I like you that you see the progression, and I think that part of it works. But at the same time, there's a bunch of weird things. So that's kind of my mixed thing. Now you have the bad, and the one thing that's never worked about this movie after both watches. First watch, I actually didn't care about this so much, but then I really noticed it. I don't care for the ends. Like if I'm gonna be honest, I don't like how they talk so slowly. It feels like such a plot line that's kind of just going on and on. I like the stuff in the final battle where they're taking over the tower with the one with Saruman, or I don't know what's called, but I love that stuff. But as they're just walking through the forest, you don't really. The problem with this movie is that you kind of don't really feel the progression of time, which I'll talk about that in a minute. The CGI just looks kind of weird for a movie that is kind of groundbreaking for a lot of things. Granted, a talking tree is probably not the easiest thing to do, especially in live action. So it's not the worst thing ever. I actually think it's far from that. But I've seen way worse in fantasy movies. I'd say even some of the stuff I'd say there are worse stuff in Harry Potter. I would take this way over the troll in Harry Potter. Yeah, I'm going on. So it's just kind of odd. And second thing, I think the problem with that whole tree kind of and sort of subplot is that I feel like these movies have are very good at the first and the third one, especially the first one, are very good at showing progression of time. This one, not the case. Because I think you feel like some sort of a huge time going past with Frodo and Sam, a little bit a very slow amount of time, a very little amount of time with Pippin and Merrin, and then sort of middle, which I'd say it's sort of the middle ground, but still feeling like a lot of time with the Rohans and Legolas, Aragorn, and the dwarf, whatever it's called. I can never remember his name. I don't know why. So I think there's kind of those two little the time, the way they show passage time is very off. But minor nitpick. And also another problem is this is kind of a movie of two halves, where I think part of the problem was yesterday I had got no sleep the night before, and I had a massive headache. That might be why. I'm not gonna fully blame it on the movie. It was probably also my mood. But then the second half, which is what I watched today, I think was way better. Which I also, the Battle of Helm's Deep is just mostly because of the Battle of Helm's Deep. It's just awesome, but it's a little odd when you watch it. Like first, maybe the next watch this won't be a problem, but for this watch it was. His final score, I'm gonna give it a 9.2, 9.3. I'll set out that. I still think it's great. Like, the Battle of Helm's Deep, awesome. Characters, awesome. Casting, awesome. Story, for the most part, it works pretty well. I think Gollum's a great character. I think the adventure we get with Frodo and Sam works very well. The problem here is that it's kind of a movie of two halves. I mentioned the ends. It kind of has your classic middle chapter problems where, like, you have the first chapter and the second chapter, or third chapter of setup and payoff. This one's kind of progressing everything, which kind of works in some, like Empire, but like in some, like this one, it's still a great movie, still an awesome film. I think the characters are great. I love the little arc that they give with the King of Rohan, but throughout this and Return of the King, that works very well. So, and Gandalf, I love that Calvary moment. I mean, who doesn't? So, not much else to say, I guess. Thanks for hitting 100 subscribers. I'm very happy. If you're wondering why I haven't had my outro music, it's like I was trying to get a bunch of files deleted for my MCU video to work, and apparently I deleted all the audio stuff for iMovie, which is sorry, but after I come home from camp, I'll create something on guitar. It's still a valid use, and yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. And adios.